Okay, what I want to talk about today is about the financial system or finance as a Ponzi scheme in itself. So we're hearing now again reappearing that all over the West pensions are collapsing because they are Ponzi schemes, which is true, or the entitlements in America are being cut because they are Ponzi schemes, which is true. But the reality of it is a lot deeper, which means that the entire finance as a field is a Ponzi scheme. Now, I am an expert of Ponzi schemes because I played in 3 or 4 of them and I made money, which means that the way they work is it's like Bitcoin, which is a Ponzi scheme. You put money in it and you expect everyone else coming in to put money, so you get paid. So it depends entirely on the circulation and the addition of money. So why do they say that pensions are a Ponzi scheme? Because not many people now are contributing to the pensions. Now, why does that matter? It wouldn't really matter because the government would print money and give you pensions locally. But that would not work. Why would that not work? Because the quantity of money in the system is irrelevant. You see, monetary policy is just talk. It is irrelevant. What matters is the supply of goods and services. If the supply is provided, then the way you organize finance is irrelevant. And with the technology now that we have, you just type up digits on computers and then you have the money. The reason the entire finance, not just pensions, but the entire finance is a Ponzi scheme, is that finance only handles claims on real goods and services. Right, so what is money? Money is, money is unsupplied goods and services, or promised goods and services, as my Twitter friend said yesterday, corrected me. Molson, it's a better way, rather than saying unsupplied goods and services, is promised goods and services. And Molson's correction is better than my definition of what money is. So you have this quantity of money. Let's say in this case, this is 5,000 Albanian leks, and that's 50 euros. And you'd expect that the rest of the world, or at least here in Albania, I would get 5,000 leks or 50 euros worth of goods and services if I exchange this piece of paper. However, if the economy, the supply chains do not offer these goods and services, then this money is irrelevant. Right? Hence, the entire finance is a Ponzi scheme. Why? Because it only manages the creation of money, which means it only manages the claims on real goods and services. So if you have 8% of your economy or 20% of your economy doing just finance, means that you are producing nothing. You are only handling claims on the production. You got it? That is why the West is declining. And that is why the US is declining first. And that is why London, the United Kingdom, declined the first at first. Because they have this imaginary fantasy of financial superpower. That the London being the center of the global finance. Nobody gives a shit. And the entire Brexit narrative was based on that. Because they cannot do without us. Well, self-evidently, they can. Right? So, managing claims on goods and services, which is money, which is finance, is a Ponzi scheme. Whereas managing production, supplies of goods and services, that is the real deal. You gotta hire people, you gotta do planning. You cannot type up goods and services. You can type up money, you cannot type up goods and services on the computer. And that is why, my dear friends, not only pensions, but the entire finance is a Ponzi scheme. That is why, as a percentage of the economy and of employment, it should be the minimum absolute possible. Maybe 2%, 1% of the employment. Now, there's nothing to handle there that much. And that is why the US elites and the Western elites are not really rich. They're just rich on spreadsheet, but they're rich because it's a Ponzi scheme. And they rely on someone typing up digits on computers. And that is why, again, I'm finalizing this clip with my standard warning. Everything is bad. Everything will get worse. No light at the end of the tunnel. Have no hope. The worst is yet to come. You have a good